Hey everybody, welcome to Unlocked Church. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Joey. If you're hopping over from the one wheel video today, I hope you enjoyed that video. I know I had a blast racing it. I am a little disappointed because the first time we raced it, if you didn't know, I was this far in front of Scott. Like, I was a foot in front of Scott and I won. Like, I touched the bench first and it felt so good to finally beat him. But if you didn't know, we're looking at the footage later on in the day and we ended up being disqualified because we didn't have the right setting on the GoPro. And so Lily and I were disqualified and we had to race again. In the second race, as you saw, we got crushed. You know, Scott actually is going to be talking about reacting and responding to different situations. And right there, I could have reacted and got mad at Lily, but I tried to keep her spirits up, and so she wasn't hanging her head. and so I can't wait for you to hear what Scott has in store for today. But before that, we have, I was about to say Lily singing, no, Kristen and Brian that are going to be up for worship, and I can't wait for you to join us in worship today. It's going to be good. So wherever you are, whether you're in your living room or your front yard, on your phone, can't wait for you guys to worship with us. So here is Brian and Kristen. Enjoy.
Thank you, Joey. That was an awesome welcome. Welcome, everyone. It's me and Brian doing worship this week. And Brian, where were you last week?
Last week I was in the great state of Montana.
That sounds just beautiful.
It was beautiful, like driving through the mountains to get to where we were working. I was there for work, so I spent most of my time inside a high school auditorium. Yeah. But when I did get to go outside, I did bring my boosted board, so I got to ride around a little bit.
That's brilliant. That's so smart.
Yeah, we stayed in an Airbnb like a mile from the place, so like every day when we were done with work, ride back to the house.
Yeah, just boost home, scoot on home.
Yeah, it was awesome. So Kristen, what song are we doing this week?
We are doing Pursue by Hillsong, and it's a great song, and it's one of my favorites, and it's just a reminder of what we sing to ourselves when we're trying to continue to pursue Jesus through everything, all the trials that we go through, whether it's, I don't know, this whole crazy pandemic thing that's going on, or just regular everyday life things.
Yeah, no, I love this song, and it like, to me it's a challenge to like every day pursue Jesus, because it's easy to get lost in like to-do lists and all the tasks and everything, and like any good relationship that you have with someone, you have to pursue them. Right, like when I was dating my wife, I pursued her. Yeah. So like this song to me, it's like, first of all, it's just really raw. Like the lyrics are super emotional, of just being vulnerable from the songwriter, and then the challenge piece of it too. So yeah, it's just a good reminder to just pick up your cross daily. And I just think it's, like you said, when you get caught in the to-dos of everyday life, you forget to find Jesus in the little things, or try and see needs and meet needs, or be like Jesus in everyday life. So I just think it's a really good song for that reminder. Yeah, and let's sing this together. So wherever you're at, like in your living room, at your friend's house, sing along, everybody. Here we go.
Close my eyes and see my King in majesty. Your grace compels my soul to love and draw in close. I lift my hands and sing, surrender everything. In forever. Jesus, I surrender. Show me what I don't know, more of you. I'm desperate for your presence, longing to be with you. Lead me to a new place, more of you. Through the fire, I'll persevere. I won't submit to any fear. Where I go, you've been before. All my trust is in you, Lord. Now until forever, Jesus, I surrender. Show me what I don't know, more of you. I'm desperate for your presence, longing to be with you. Lead me to a new place, more of you. From now until forever, Jesus, I surrender. Show me what I don't know, more of you. I'm desperate for your presence, longing to be with you. Lead me to a new place, more of you. Lead me to you forever, Lord. I will pursue. I will pursue you, Lord. You won my heart. Jesus, you're all that I want. All that I want. Lead me to you forever, Lord. I will pursue. I will pursue you, Lord. You won my heart. Jesus, you're all that I want. All that I want. Let's sing it again. Lead me to you forever, Lord. I will pursue. I will pursue you, Lord. You won my heart. Jesus, you're all that I want. All that I want. Now until forever, Jesus, I surrender. Show me what I don't know, more of you. I'm desperate for your presence, longing to be with you. Lead me to a new place, more of you.
Brian and Kristen, thank you so much for that song. Thank you so much for rocking with us today. If you're a first-time guest to Unlock Church, my name is Scott Mendenhall. We're so glad that you're here. Hopefully you hung out with us in what we call the lobby experience, and that was the one-wheel race. Oh, paddleboards and one wheels? Hello? Come on. That could be one of my favorite races to date. It set up even this teaching today because we had heaps of opportunities to do what we're talking about today. If you didn't catch on to the story, that was the second time we filmed that race. See, on Thursday, we woke up bright and early as the sun was rising and got everything ready, and then right about 8 o'clock, we could take off and race and get the race done. Well, we raced, and it was an epic race, and Kristen had a gnarly fall, and then all of a sudden we get home, and I get this text message from someone, and they were like, hey, call me, which I know that means, we didn't get it, or something's wrong with the footage, and you talk it over, and all of a sudden we don't have someone's race part of the story, and it's like, and we had a moment to do what we're talking about today, is reacting or to respond in that moment. I didn't want to go back out and film because it would take away from my day, and there's just a lot of things, right? Not away from my day, but things we have to get done for moments like this. It's a deadline about when Thursday hits. You know Sunday's approaching and you feel that wheel speeding up on you and you got to get going. And so it's like, we all felt it and we had a choice. We could have reacted and blown up on the individual that just didn't have it in the right mode and go, why wouldn't you do that? You're such a bad, awful person. Or we could respond and go, okay, if I was in your shoes for a second, I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I mess up all the time. So it's cool. Now let's figure it out. And that's exactly what we did as a team. It was like, okay, hey, it's okay. We'll figure it out as a team. We'll make up. We'll figure it out. And so even in having to film that race twice, it gives us this opportunity to teach and really have a real life experience in the last couple days about reacting and responding. And some of you just sitting where you are, you're like, okay, I need this. So tune in. Maybe you need to move close. Maybe you need to put your phone away. And maybe you should dial right in and hear what Jesus has to say today. And if you're brand new here, we often ask this question around here: what is Jesus saying to you, and what are you going to do about it? This is an invitation today to have a dialogue, a conversation with Jesus today on a topic that is so relevant to all of us. It's an all skate and all play for everyone in the world, because we are given opportunities daily to respond or react inside of what is happening. I put in my notes to remind myself to tell you, you have a super ability. If you're a student and you love the Avengers, or if you're the Bly family and just wrapped up all of the Avengers series, well done. In order? Yes, please, more Avengers. I love them because of the superhero abilities and just like the power. And what we're talking about today is that you possess a superhero ability. We all do. It's all of us have this superhero ability. Just very few of us tap into it when it matters most. And so our hopes is today share lots of thoughts, get you to think, screenshot if you want some of the things we put on here. At the end of this, we want you to make a conscious decision to take a step in your relationship with Jesus. And that could be, I've never trusted Jesus before. I'm going to believe Jesus is who he said he is. I'm going to read more about this man named Jesus. Some of you, I'm a seasoned vet, been around forever, but I'm going to take this serious and I'm going to stop behaving in a certain manner. I'm going to let Jesus speak to me, okay? And so this superhero ability that you have, I've already kind of said it to you. We'll just see if you already know that I named it. Here it is. I said this. We all have an innate ability that empowers us to be better for anything that comes our way. This is a prep. This is a setup for what might come your way in the future. What we're talking about today can change your life forever. In micro moments, you might not see the effects of this superhero ability, but it's over a long period of time, you begin to see the effects of it. You begin to see the reality of it take place over a long period of time. Not in the moment. It's usually outplays over time. The thing about this pandemic that just happened is we didn't choose it. It chose us, as now has left us with the opportunity to tap into our superhero ability, or just that ability that's in us, but rarely do we use it. This ability has the power to turn bad things into good things, empower you to turn wrong things into right things. It has the power to overcome the evil intent of evil people. And finally, it has the power to reverse the course of your life. This ability is a game changer. This superhero ability we're talking about is so good. And we overlook it all the time. We just think that's what I teach my kids. I don't need to tap into it as an adult. No, you need to. If you live here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, in the last, at the shooting of this, has been the last 48 hours, has been bonkers here. I don't know what's going to happen over the next few days between now and Sunday, but the Twin Cities, man, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening, and we're seeing a lot of reaction to what happened with a man of color and a cop. A tragic death cut short someone's life. It breaks my heart when we see humans treated that way. Jesus came for every one of us and tells us to love everyone. Everyone that thinks different than us, that looks different than us, sounds different. Love all. Jesus came to the earth for all people. And so I don't know what transpired there in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities. I don't know what was actually said and up to it. I just know that someone's life was abruptly stopped when someone could have stopped the actions they were doing. And in that, I feel sad to the family that lost someone. And then I watched the reaction of a city that goes and burns down apartments and goes and loots everything out of a Target and Cubs food, and it just exploded. National Guard's being called in, and it's become bigger and bigger. It's escalating. You've heard it said, and I've said it so many times, two wrongs don't make a right. But you know what? I think inside this scenario, what's happening in the world today is that there's so many people that are being treated poorly and wrong, that the news will cover the event for this amount of time and then just never see anything else about it. It won't change. I'm not saying the reaction of these people to loot and burn things down is correct, but I can understand how you can rationalize it going, hey, if we don't do something large, nothing's going to change. That's a reaction, and in that makes an explosion of things happen, which then that becomes the problem, and forgotten is the beginning, the root of it. So may we all apply this today. And our superhero ability is this. I've already said it, is our ability to react or respond. And it's really our ability to respond because naturally we react to everything. I smash my finger with a hammer. Guess what I do? If the old me would have said some words that I'd have to apologize for that we can't say here. We'd have to have a bleeping machine. But that's the reaction in us. It's just in us. We're programmed as humans to react. Somebody says something wrong to us, we want to say something wrong to them. That's why people say hurting people hurt people, because that's in us. I remember one Ironman race, I was going down to Louisville, Kentucky to race, and I was about to miss my exit, and I pulled over a little bit quicker than I should have. Might have cut somebody off, probably did. Apologize if you're watching. And they honked their horn, gave me the middle finger, told me they disapproved of my driving abilities, and I just continued to go on. Well, we get out of construction, and all of a sudden somebody comes flying by and throws a Coke into my open suburban window. I get Coke all over my face. I was heated. I was like, my wife's in here. I'm going to stand up for my wife. I'm going to take, you feel. And I wanted to mash the gas pedal, and I was just like, no, my skin wants to do that, but that's not the wise and calculated response. If I chase them down and ride their tail, what's the next stage? What are they up at an ante? And I just was like, no, I can take this down a notch and be wise in it and step back and respond. So I stayed put, though my skin was, I was amped. I was ready to do something. It's really easy to miss this ability during moments of crisis and adversity. If you are not careful, you will become a victim because you didn't tap into this ability. If you can tap into this ability, you will be better for it in every area of your life. And refresher, this ability is the ability to respond. It will make you better. And I wanted to make sure I read that portion off of my notes because it makes it very clear. When we respond, that's what happens. Reacting complicates life's most darkest situations. Responding dissipates life's most darkest situations. If we react, it turns us into the victims, which just continues to make us react and react and react. You know, at the end of the day, I cannot control the circumstances around me. I can only control what's in my hands and me. I can really only control what's inside me, my attitude and my view of people, how I see people. I control those things. Those things don't slip out. Those don't just leak out. I don't have holes everywhere and it's just seeping out. No, I choose to let those thoughts reside in my brain and then become words out of my mouth. Jesus says this, a good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. for the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. If you want a good indication of who you are, when it is said out loud, that indicates, oh my gosh, I got some work to do. When you react and you say hurtful words to someone, that's in your heart. That reminds you, I got some work to do. And remember this, not every word is created equal. Just because you say sorry doesn't mean all of a sudden that person just goes back to, it's cool, we're cool, I love you, it's all good. No, not every word is created equal. Sometimes it takes weeks, maybe months, for those hurtful words that you said in anger to be forgiven fully by the individual, and you have got to be okay with that. Don't continue to react in those given moments when that person brings it up again and says, I'm hurt by that, and you go, I already asked forgiveness, I am sorry. You just are heaping it on. Tap into our ability that we all have, and rarely do we tap into it, the ability to respond. I mean, after all, this is all based out of what Jesus did. We follow a man named Jesus who was arrested innocently. When put on trial, he stayed silent. He surrendered his life. He gave up his life for those that were nailing him to the cross. Ultimately, all of the things that he didn't react to is the result of the things in our lives. That he didn't react to the people punching him in the face. He didn't react to those that were calling him a liar and all these things. He silently sat there, stood there, died on a cross, and rose again. And when he put the exclamation point on his life, boom, game changer for all of us. Never underestimate the power of a measured response, a thought out response, taking a minute to go, is this the wise thing to do? We've said it so many times here, but I always got to say it because this is the filter I put all the decisions I try to make in my life. It's this: in light of my past experiences, present circumstances, and my future hopes and dreams, what is the wise thing to do? And it's always different for everyone because your past is different than mine, your present circumstances are different than mine, and your future hopes and dreams are different than mine. So what is wise for one is not always necessarily wise for others. But we always got to run back to what does Jesus have to say on those things. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean it's wise. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. Can I say that again? Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. These are things for you to think about before you react. Is it really a big deal? Was it intentional? Is it worth ruining a relationship over? Words make villains or heroes out of all of us, people. I know I want to be the hero most of the time, but I know sometimes the words I share out of my mouth make me the villain. And when I catch on to that, I am quick to apologize. I'm quick to say, I'm so sorry. That's not what I was trying to say. I love what it says from King Solomon, who is the wisest man to ever live. You know why we say that? Because when God asked Solomon, I'll give you anything, just ask. He didn't ask for the riches in the world. He asked for wisdom. And then because he asked for wisdom, he became the wealthiest man in the world. Wisdom is what we should pursue. Wisdom would prevent us from sticking our foot into our mouth. Wisdom would help us in the reaction and respond abilities. I love what he writes in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 16. An idiot's quick to fly off the handle, but the sordid bite their lips at some cheap jabs. That's pretty profound. Can I read that one more time? An idiot's quick to fly off the handle, but the sordid bite their lips at some cheap jabs. People are going to say stuff about you, your kid, your wife, the things you drive, what you're wearing, and you know what? You want to rise up and put them in their place and say, oh yeah? Well, did you know this? That's what you... And you just have all these one-liners that are funny and laughable, and it hurts them, and hurting people hurt people, and you reacted instead of responding, and it's like you're pouring gasoline onto a fire, and it just blows up, and all of a sudden that relationship isn't where it once was, and you're just like, oh, I'm such an idiot. It's because of us not adhering to what King Solomon just said. It is us going, okay, I'm going to keep my mouth closed. So we're going to use a story from the Old Testament to illustrate this. We talked about this young man a couple weeks ago, and as I was rereading the story, I don't know, have you ever done that where you see a clip of a movie and you're like, oh, that's so good, I need to go back and watch that? It's like that with some of these great ancient Bible stories that when I just sample a little bit in a teaching, I go back and reread the whole thing, and then it's like, wow, that's so good. And so going back and rereading a story from this young man's life, I'm like, this is so good. We got to teach it. People got to see it in light of what's happening in the Twin Cities, in light of what's happening in the world with pandemics. It is something that we can all look at his life because his life is done, right? He lived 110 years, and we get to see his entire life play out. We get to see the moments where he reacted or responded, and we get to see how they play out. And the interesting thing about this guy that we're going to talk about, a couple things, is when you read his story, it's filled with responses. I've not seen him react. It's calculated, wise decisions that in the moment didn't seem very big. It almost felt superficial, like, did anything actually good come out of him doing the right thing at that moment? Actually, there are moments in his life that he does the right thing and he's worse for it. But when you you back up and you see his entire life play out, all of a sudden you can see all of those little things add up, and over a lifetime, the responses played out into play a big piece of his life where he made an impact not just in his own personal life, but his direct family's life and the tribes of Israel in the early years of Israel as a country. And here's what I mean. You have Abraham who led the revolt or led people out of slavery, out of Egypt. He had a son named Isaac. Isaac had Jacob. Jacob has 12 kids. 12 of them who become each tribe of Israel from Jacob's kids. There was one boy in Jacob's family that Jacob loved the most, and I'm not making this up, it's just said in the story that he loved it, and his boy's name is Joseph. If you hadn't already caught on, Joseph, we're talking about Joseph, and now you got some history, Joseph's story, you know it probably, if you're fresh to being a follower of Jesus, maybe this is our first time, maybe you sat in a play when we could sit in plays, and it was Joseph in the amazing Technicolor coat, something of that nature. Leave a comment over there, let me know if I'm right on that, right? But you've seen the play, it's all about this young man who was born a free man to Jacob, who had 11 other brothers who hated him. Like they despised him because their dad loved him so much. And they came up with a plan one day as Joseph was sent from his dad out to the field to go and check in on them and come back and give a report. He's coming out, whistling it on his way out. And one of his brothers comes up with a great idea. Hey, who else is sick and tired of our little brother Joseph? And they all go, oh yeah, and they all kind of like collab and like, oh yeah, we all I can't believe our dad likes him more than us. We're out here working hard under the sun and this guy getting up. Oh, and they're just frustrated. And so they come up with this plan. Let's kill him. And then we'll put him down there and we'll just leave him for death. And so they beat him up and they put him down in like a culvert or a side of the road. And they're like, we're gonna just leave him for dead. And then one of the brothers go, no, guys, hold on. What benefit, what good does that come out of us? We can go back and make up a story that animals got him and that's what they intended to do, but we get nothing for this. What if we sell him as a slave? And so in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20 is where we're going to pick up this story. This is at the end of Joseph's life. I just started at the kind of middle tween area. And now at the end of the life, Joseph writes these words when you just heard one of the first encounters of tragedy. Joseph writes, you intended to harm me. Who's the you in this? When Joseph is saying you, is he talking directly to his brothers at that point? If you know the whole story of Joseph, he's got all of these adversity moments or people against him. The you in the story was the people who had the power to influence his life. They had evil in their hearts. If you remember the story, they created circumstances that generally transformed victims into perpetrators. They created a set of circumstances that generally caused the innocent to take on the characteristics or character of the guilty. That's the you we're talking about. They had the ability that they would create circumstances that the innocent would look like the villain in the story because they reacted to it. That's what we've seen in the nightly news here in Minnesota, is that one bad made a group of people react, which makes them now look like the villains in the story, and they're not at all. It was not a calculated response, it was a reaction. And I'm not here smacking hands on that. I'm just trying to look at what I saw and go, man, that is reaction all over the place. When the Air National Guard is called in, you know you're at a high level of emergency. And so they escalated it to bigger problems. And now all of a sudden you turn on the news and you hear less about what happened to the young man, and you hear more about how the part of the city's on fire and the Air National Guard's being called in. And I understand, I can sympathize to those people. I get it. Let's treat everyone equal. Let's love everyone. I want to make sure everyone hears my heart, that I want every person nationality, looking differently, sounding different, every demographic of, well, everyone treated equal. Human life matters. It doesn't matter where you were raised or how you were raised. Life matters. People matter. It's a big deal when a life is taken tragically from this earth. It breaks my heart. It breaks Jesus' heart, so we should break all of our hearts, and we should stand up, but with a calculated response. And we can learn from Joseph and his calculated responses to his whole life, how God was with. I love what Joseph pens right after, you meant harm for me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That just, man, when you go through some adverse moments, when you are up against it, you're saying, okay, I lost my job now. I'm on welfare all of a sudden. I got to sell my house. I got to sell my car. To meet the ends in my life, I got to do things I never thought I had to do. Oh, and you're stressed out. No, remember, over a long period of time, God's still going to be with you. He has not left you nor forsaken you. I love it. I love it when you know everything of Joseph's story. If you haven't, and you definitely need to go read it. For Joseph to write, but God intended for good. What? So good. He didn't lose the sight that God was with him always. When you look at this story, not one of his responses changed much of his story. But when you look at his life and add up all of his responses, you see how they have impacted his life and will give fuel to our faith that the same can happen to us if we choose to respond versus react. Genesis 37, verse 26. Judah said to his brothers, what will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed. So when the Midianites merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. Back in those, even today, to be born free was the ultimate goal in life, is to not be a slave. That was the lowest on the totem pole. It wasn't about wealth. It was just being free, that I got to make my own decisions. I got to go work where I wanted, not to be slaves. And here is Joseph going from living with his dad and his brothers, now being sold into slavery by those that actually love him. In Genesis chapter 39, verse 1, now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian, who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captains of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. I just want to point out something really quick. This is the second time he's been sold as a slave. Maybe you can sympathize with Joseph at this moment, that no one is looking out for Joseph and no one is looking for Joseph. Maybe that's how you feel in this pandemic. Maybe this is how you feel where you're sitting like, no one cares what I do and where I'm at in life. Maybe you can now tune in to learn something from Joseph and that we could apply into our lives. Genesis 39 verse 2, the Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered. And as he lives in the house of the Egyptian master. Okay, like some of you already are going to have problems with you. Like, hold on. He was sold as a slave. He was beaten up by those that he loved. This is super messy already, and you're going to tell me that God was with him. How is that so? Because maybe for a moment it's because your Western Christianity has sabotaged the way you think. Because Western Christianity believes when God is with you, things work out for you. Or a good God doesn't let bad things happen to good people. We just don't see that throughout the owner's manual, the Bible. The authors in the Bible, the heroes of the stories, are often wrote with their flaws that we can see it. We see even Jesus, who we are a follower of. He got beaten and abused. He was innocent and he was murdered. It really illustrates and paints a picture for us to understand that, hey, in life, some people are lucky and some people are unlucky. Sometimes those that love Jesus the most have bad things happen to them. But we've got to learn that no matter what happens in our life, the circumstances are great or not great, that God is with us. And we can still prosper. Good things can still come of it. Just like Joseph is telling us. I love that. We just saw that he was beaten up and sold twice in slavery. Worst of the worst for him. And he writes, but God was with me. And everything prospered that I put my hands to. I don't know about you, but man, I would rather have in my life that what I put my hands to, God blesses, than to never have things go wrong in my life. I want to be able to know at the end of my life, I did something with the things that were in my hand and they were useful and changed the world. I love that mentality of Joseph. This part of the story might wind you up a little bit. Let's jump back into it. When his master saw the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in the eyes and became his attendant. Pharaoh put him in charge of his household and trusted him to the care of everything. But what you're about to see is going to wind you up. It's going to get you going, that's my point. First, the Lord was with Joseph, but luck was not with Joseph. Prosperity was not with Joseph. Justice was not with Joseph. Fairness was not with Joseph. Joseph was like you and me with the ability to choose to respond or react, and we get to see him respond throughout the story. This is the part of the story that's going to wind you up in Genesis chapter 39, verse 5. From the time he put him in charge of his household and of all he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessings of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in his home and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, he did not have to concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome, and the story is about to shift, and this is the part we tapped into a couple weeks ago. But listen, who prospered in this? If you're writing the story about your life and God's taking everything you touch and turning it into gold, you want the gold. But here Joseph, he's making gold for somebody else and they're prospering. Joseph is still a slave and still not having good things. And then this is where in the story you just, what? Joseph comes into the kitchen and he's well built, good looking, like somebody I know. That I've encountered a little bit. I see every day in the mirror. No, just catching. If you're catching, be nice with the comments over there. I just seen if you're rolling with me, following along. Well done. Just making sure you're rolling with us. Okay, so he's looking good. Potiphar's wife walks in, says, "Go to bed with me." The thing I didn't say last time we talked about, this wasn't like, hey, you know, like you're good looking. No, this is a command. This wasn't come to bed with me. She is who he lives, he owns him. She is his owner. He's supposed to do what she says. And what does he do? A calculated response. He walks away. This happens again. And it's like, you can't win here, right? If he sleeps with her, well, that's wrong because Potiphar is going to be really upset. And if he doesn't, well, she's going to hate him and probably could beat him and do worse things to him. So it's a no-win situation. And maybe you find yourself in a no-win situation. You're like, well, if I just react, I do the wrong thing, who cares? There's no good option here. No, always respond and do the godly thing. It's wise. You will see the benefits, maybe not in the immediate, but in the long term, when you back out and get to see the years pass by, it will add up to great things. The funny thing about reactions are, if we react, we see the explosion now, and then it's too late. May we lessen the explosions in our lives and have more of a response and see over the long term it pay off. Joseph gets tempted by her again. She rolls in, and this time he runs away. She grabs his coat, and she then accuses him of rape. And you know what happens to him? You should read the story. I'm not going to tell you. You got to find out yourself. Go read Genesis chapter 39. Here's the truth about Joseph, is he responded as if God was with him when it looked as if God had abandoned him. So in light of your situation, I don't know what the pandemic has brought on. I don't know the feelings you have towards other people, the frustrations you have with a coworker, or you wish somebody would open up, or they're opening up too soon, that they should do that and they shouldn't do this, and we all have those opinions. May you have a calculated response and not a reaction when you're sitting across the table and somebody disagrees with you. Respond to them. What's the wise thing to say? Act as if Jesus is sitting at the table when you respond. Don't act as if he's abandoned you and forgotten you, because he is not. He is right there. He will never leave you nor forsake you. It doesn't mean everything will go the way you want it to be written or the way you think it should go. It's not that way. God never leaves us or forsakes us. Those that love him understand that he's with you always. May we find some kind of peace in that and confidence in that. How would someone in your circumstances respond if they were confident God was with them? The confidence meter goes up. God is with me, so I'm going to behave like God wants me to. Your answer to this question is your invitation to respond rather than to react. Maybe you need a screenshot that and put that up there. How would someone in your circumstances respond if they were confident God was with them? See, if we continually find ourselves reacting, that shows an indicator to us a little bit like the idiot lights on our car that says, hey, got a problem. When we continually to react to people, we are constantly putting Jesus off the throne and say, I got this. It don't matter. I don't think you're really who you say. I don't think it matters at this moment what you say. I want to do what I want. Stop reacting and respond. Turn down your anger a little bit. Get angry less. Never underestimate the power of a measured response. Never underestimate the power of a measured response. What is your measured response that you need to begin to take in your situations? Because they are all different. You're up against the wall in a different way than other people. This isn't you do what they do. This is, what is Jesus saying to you? What are you going to do about it? Because you want to know what else happens to Joseph. It just gets crazy from here. I mean, he ends up in jail. He gets promised that he'll get out of jail and he doesn't. It's mind-blowing what happens in Joseph's life. It's like this dude is back up against the wall all the time where you just are about to think that he's going to get what he deserves. Like, woo, champion of the world. Rocky music starts to come on. Yeah, Joseph. It's worse. It gets worse, but he never reacted and he always behaved as if God was there with him and responded, and that is powerful. So, in light of all of that said, would we move from reaction to response? What here in Minnesota should be our response to what took place over the last week? How can we make a difference? How can we stand up for those that are being abused and taken advantage of? What can we do? What is our response that would, one, get the attention of the world and that would turn a situation where there's something done good? That's the question I'm leaving for us and all of us around the world. What is our response to the pandemic? Not our reaction. Not our, I'm going to hoard toilet paper. I heard somebody say this week that all the apocalypse movies have got it wrong. That they have, when they make these apocalypse movies, it's about hoarding gasoline and oil and water. No, they got to redo all, it's toilet paper. That's what people are hoarding. They didn't hoard gas or oil, it was toilet paper. I have no idea. I just know that what you saw there was that innate ability that we just immediately get to, we react. I didn't know I needed toilet paper, but I do now, oh my gosh, instead of responding. So, I leave you with that. With God by your side, how would you respond instead of react? I hope you got something out of it. Let's pray. Jesus, I thank you for everyone that's watching today, either in the live on Sunday or throughout the week. I ask right now you would jump through their device and just nudge their hearts, their heartbeat going a little bit faster, butterflies in the stomach, that you're saying, hey, this is for you. You got to react less and respond more, and where we would become more like you in this topic, that we wouldn't rationalize why we blew up on someone or why we did what we did, but that we would look at it, goes, what is the wise thing to do? May we look at Joseph's life, like a man that had so many wrong things going on in his life, but he always said, no, God is with me. He has not left me, that I'm prospering. I might not be getting the benefit, but somebody is. I know God's with me. May we find peace in you with us. Jesus, be with those that are going back to work. Give them wisdom at work. Be with those that are still looking for work. May doors open and may they find peace in the process. And may this story, Joseph's life, may it just reveal a characteristic of you, that you are with us in those moments of scary moments, in those mountaintops. You're with us. You are the same God yesterday and forever. May we begin to become more like that, same yesterday and forever. Jesus, we love you in your name. Amen. Thank you guys so much for hanging with us today. We have some really cool things in store still. We're throwing it to Kristen, who you saw the epic fall that you saw in the first race. She's bruised up, banged up, but she's doing good. Kristen, tell us, how are you doing, girl?
Good morning, Unlocked Church. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday so far. It's Kristen here, and I'm doing Given with you guys this week. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we are so thankful for the obedience and generosity you guys have with your tithes and offerings, because that allows us as a church to go out into our community and see needs and meet needs for families, individuals, and businesses. And we're just able to spread Jesus's love and peace and light throughout our community. And that is what we are always looking to do as a church. So if you are feeling like you're being nudged to do that, we are always trying to provide opportunities for you guys to see needs and meet needs and just be obedient in what Jesus is telling you to do. So the 2 easy ways you guys can give at Unlock Church is you can text UNLOCK to 77977, or you could go to our website, unlockchurch.com, and you could click on the giving tab and you can give there. So those are a couple ways you guys can be obedient to what Jesus is telling you to do. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next Sunday.
Hey guys, thank you so much for hanging with us this morning. Again, if you didn't see the first video of the morning, my name is Lily. I'm the children's director at Unlock. I also get to have a whole lot of fun with this crew on Sunday mornings doing one-wheel races. Today we did a paddleboard race. If you somehow missed that race, please go back and watch it. It was amazing. Joey, thanks for letting me be on your team. We make a good team. Go Fight Win, Joey. Let's go, baby. If we ever team up again, I'd like to be with you. All right, guys, we have some upcoming events for you all. At Unlock, we're doing so much to give you opportunities to stay connected as a single person, as a married couple, as a family, wherever you are, whoever you are, wherever you are. We want you to stay connected during this time, more important now than ever. We have been doing digital small groups all throughout this season, and we're going to continue them over the summer. We have a little bit of a different schedule, so as I banter a little bit here, check out the image I'm going to post for you. You can screenshot it so you can see the times and days of our small groups. We have kids small groups, we have youth small groups, we have adult small groups, we have women's small groups. Please jump into one of them. It's so important for you guys to stay connected. So please jump in, and I have one more upcoming event for you, but it's pretty big, so we're gonna pause here so I can get on the kayak and tell you about it. All right, I have one more upcoming event for you all, and it is so big that I felt the need to get out on the lake for it. Unlock Summer Camp is happening. If you are a kid age 4 through 14, you can participate. That's right. It is going to be the best week of your entire summer. We have prepared the most awesome, most cool box that we're gonna give to you. We're gonna get in your hands, and it has everything you need for the entire week of Unlock Summer Camp. There's gonna be live entertainment, there's gonna be games, there's gonna be all that you need to experience the best week of your life, guys. So sign up at unlocksummercamp.com. If you want to volunteer, you can sign up there as well. It's going to be the greatest week of the summer, so please sign up. June 22nd through the 26th is happening. All right, all that you need to know is on unlocksummercamp.com, and I hope to see you there. I'm gonna hand it back to Scott to finish this off for the morning, but thanks for being with us today, guys. I'm gonna enjoy the water for a little bit. All right, see you soon.
Thank you for those upcoming events. We'll see a lot of you in our digital small groups, and if you're looking for more information, we have some really cool news that we are looking to do as we are progressing towards meeting together, gathering together. We are putting together 3 different types of plans to the city. They asked us to submit that. I'm sure what they're going to do is take all the churches that are going to submit their 3 plans, and they will then come back to us and tell us what we have to do to enter their buildings. And so we are patiently waiting for that, and we will know more by next Sunday. That said, this one is sadly coming to an end. We hope you have a fabulous Sunday. It was so good to hang out with all of you. I love seeing everybody all over the world in here, from our friends in England, Florida, Minnesota, all the way down in South Africa, and many, many more countries are in here watching. Thank you for watching. So much fun to hang with you. Thank you for making this one of those moments in our lives where we go, look at what Jesus is doing. It's really bad circumstances, but his church is still prevailing and growing. And if you're still here, well done. If I could, I would come right through your screen and just give you, I don't know, high five, virtual high five. Anyways, this one's over, guys. Have a good one. Bye now.